You have a virus, viral fever. Do you go to the doctor and ask for a headache pill?
No, absolutely not.
Vocabulary is like the headache pill. Language is the viral fever. See what I mean? So what happens is the byproduct of fluency is vocabulary. Hi, Kumar.
Hello. How are you doing, sir?
Very well. Is your first name Kumar or Ravish?
You can call me Kumar. My first name is Kumar.
Okay, excellent. So what do you do, Kumar?
I work for a US-based company.
All right. And what's your role there?
I have been into IT staffing.
Well, those are people in demand these days.
Yes, you may say so. How about you? What do you do?
Well, I am a senior executive, corporate executive, and I have about 25 years of corporate experience across US, Australia,
okay.
Europe, and I have been president and CEO of a one of the top e-commerce companies. And I'm right now consulting with a few startups, about 8 to 10 startups. I advise their boards on strategy and business implementation.
Excellent.
So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, and also listening to some offers which come my way. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. So what made you want to improve your English? You speak quite well. Why did you want to improve your English?
Oh, it's not very. There is no specific reason as such, but yes, as I have been saying on multiple discussions, that there is a room of improvement. Since this is not our language. So I wanted, why I joined this, just to make sure that, wherever I feel like I should learn something from professionals like you, I must gather those opportunities.
I'm not a professional teacher.
Okay.
No.
But again, you've got around 20 years, 25 years of experience, and certainly there are
I
some
have
other
corporate
things
experience and I'm still working. I just do this because I like talking to people. It's a tremendous platform for me to connect with people and get to know them. For example, I'm talking to you. Some days ago, I was talking to somebody in Assam, somebody in, a corner of Andhra, Telangana, Maharashtra, Calcutta, West Bengal. So it's a tremendous tool for me to get to know people. And it's a tremendous insight for me also, to understand people and the kind of work that I do. It's great insight for me, which is very useful. So I'm not, but yes, I do help people with techniques which I know of. I'm an author. I've written a book.
Oh.
I actually, after my last assignment, which was with Yatra, I was the president and CEO at Yatra. I signed a 2-book deal with Bloomsbury, UK. And while I was starting my consulting and my business, which is I'm an entrepreneur as well. So that book came out in 2020. It came out in January 2020, and it's a spy thriller. Look it up if you want to. It's called Deadly Shadows on Amazon. It's available on Amazon.
I would certainly love to go through that book, because I also love reading a lot of books, and then newspapers and so many other things. So yeah, awesome.
It's called Deadly Shadows. It's a spy thriller.
Deadly Shadow. Okay.
Shadows. While when I talk to people, I can understand people most often than not. I do not have that opportunity to practice speaking English or communicating in English. And that, because language is processed in the brain, right? It's in the brain. Your brain is your processor, and that's where the language is processed, and then it translates into your voice or your communication. And people don't have that practice, like I tell people these days, languages have been corrupted. There are weird things like English, and that kind of places people in a weird space. So I tell my team members, I used to tell them, or I still tell them, in Hindi, if you don't mind me telling you, तुम लोगों की भाषा भ्रष्ट हो चुकी है. You don't know how to speak correctly in Hindi. You don't know how to speak correctly in English. And that's because your dependence on Microsoft processor and your exposure to social media. Reading habits are so important because that kind of exposes you to literature, different forms of communication, and that's why they struggle, because the content they absorb is not correct. It's so, it's like T20 these days, right?
Sir, I wanted to, ask you a question. Okay. So if I talk about myself, I find myself a little okay when that comes to vocabulary, but when that comes to speaking, using all those words at the right time, somehow I feel like it takes time, and I am not able to use those words in the right time. Do you have anything which perhaps I can somehow
may I give you an example? May I give you a simile?
Absolutely, please.
So when you have a viral fever, do you go to the doctor and ask for a headache pill?
No, absolutely not.
Vocabulary is like the headache pill. Language is the viral fever. See what I mean? So what happens is, the byproduct of fluency is vocabulary. You see, you have to be able to place those words correctly, but for that you have to connect with the language, and you have to understand the flow of the language and the context of the language. The context is very important, the sentence which you're saying, and understanding the context of what you're reading also. Why was this word used here, and why can't it be used there? So when you're reading, if you read a word which is heavy, which is good, right? For example, let's say if you read a word contemporary, what does that mean? Why is it used my contemporary? And why not my opponent?
Right.
So it's contemporaries are on a parallel path, right? They're working at the same place or the same level. Opponents are opponents. They are fighting each other for something, right? So that's the context of the language. So what I would suggest, I can understand what you're saying. While you speak well, you sometimes do miss out some prepositions and some, you misplace them. Very minor, very minute, nothing, because you speak quite well. So if you want to improve your flow, the fluency, you want to get more fluent in English and effortless in English, do you watch English web series, Hollywood English web series?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But can you watch them without subtitles?
I can.
But right now you watch them with subtitles, right?
Sometimes I watch them with subtitles.
Don't watch them with subtitles. Watch them without. I'm going to run out of time, so I want to tell you this. Watch it without subtitles. Okay. Because that's direct feed to your brain. It will come in your language. Secondly, watch English news every day. Okay? It's subconscious. Okay. It's a part of subconscious learning. It's the feed to the brain. Third, when you're reading, every day take any English book and read loudly from it for 20 minutes continuously.
So that I do for sure.
Yeah. That would really help you get more fluent and more, effortless with your English. If you do these three things together, slowly and steadily with your reading habits, as you say, you would find the use. I must say, it has been a while. It took me some time to get used to certain words. I still find use of new words because I'm a writer. So I have to find new words to use, right? I look them up on Google. I look up their, synonyms and antonyms so that I can use a new word somewhere, which is more powerful. So do that when you're writing. Do you write?
I do write, but not very often. Most of the times I prefer reading instead of writing.
Make a journal. Write a journal every night. And use new words. Find synonyms, antonyms. These are, develop these healthy